you check the children.
Hi, I'm Chucky. Wanna play?
Sometimes that is better.
You're gonna need a bigger boat.
Hey everyone, welcome back to the Horror Show. I'm Cecil Laird.
Robert Wolfman.
And we are here to do a double Patreon review for Heather Smith. Thank you very much for all of your support, Heather. We greatly appreciate it. And I relish the opportunity to revisit this particular creature movie series. Although, let me tell you, it might... we're going to be talking about the first and second movie in a long-running series. And after watching both again for the first time in a long time, I will say that this might have a steeper drop in quality from 1 to 2 than we even saw from the Howling movies.
Yep, I would definitely agree with that one.
Because, wow, does number 2 get bad, and like immediately and for the entirety of the film. But we'll get there. So first we're going to be talking about the first Lake Placid movie.
Yes, 1999.
Indeed. Very excited about this one because I loved this movie when it came out. I loved it ever since on every rewatch. Some of the effects could be a little bit better, but for the most part, they actually used practical for a lot of it. And
that's also why I think the movie holds up as well as it does, too. Is because they did more practical.
Indeed. And, of course, starring Bridget Fonda, Bill Pullman, Oliver Platt, an all-star cast, in my opinion.
Betty White?
Betty White, of course.
How are you going to not name drop Betty White?
Of course, I should. We lost her
rest
finally,
in
right?
peace, good woman.
Good Lord, she lasted so long.
Yeah, she just said, fuck it.
But let me tell you, this movie, the original Crocodile in Maine movie, was so entertaining even again. And, I mean, they try and play it as like, what could be causing this? Because, of course, there's not normally crocodiles in Maine. But, they realize very quickly what's going on. And there's very tense scenes when someone's swimming in the murky lake. And the crocodiles, coming up on them and stuff like that. It's just a really entertaining movie. I enjoy the hell out of Lake Placid.
Oh, absolutely. And like that was a nice thing, too. Is like, it was back when, man, they were still really giving a shit about the movies that they put out. So again, kind of going back to that whole swimming scene, like you felt that nervousness. You're like, fuck. Is it gonna be like one of those types like nobody's safe kind of thing? But no, like they did a great job with it. And I remember.
Good point.
I remember when this first came out, watching this, and like it scared the crap out of me.
Fair enough. Yeah. I mean, you're a bit younger than me, so I could see how that would be
9.
the case. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, 9, 10. I was probably, I think, like 10 or something when I watched this.
Yeah, so fair enough. I mean, yeah, you'd have a different reaction. I was 19 when it came out, so...
Yeah,
that,
hey, but
it
that
is what
made
it
you
is.
hesitate on certain places where you swam.
That's true. Well, yeah, I don't like swimming in any body of water that I can't see to the bottom of. That is my, whether it's freshwater, saltwater, if I can't see to the bottom, I don't trust. There are sharks that swim in both, and I am just not going to risk it.
I am a land creature.
Yeah. I tell you what, I mean, part of why I don't do anything on there is my family and I would go to San Diego. We'd go to Coronado Island. My family was fairly well off growing up. And so we would go to Coronado Island and we would swim in the Coronado Bay in between San Diego and Coronado. And like the way I understood it when I was really younger, I was like, oh, it's a bay. It's separate from everything else. And then like not too long after that, I was like, oh no, it's a bay. It's still very much connected to the ocean right around it. And my family went water skiing one time and I agreed to try it. So I got in the water and was on my skis. And I'm telling you, the amount of time it took for the boat to get far enough away to safely pull me, I just felt like a rotisserie chicken bobbing in the top of the freaking thing.
Like, you're just going along, and then all of a sudden...
Even worse, I'm just sitting there, and the thing just comes up and eats my butt. But nonetheless, the boat goes, and I get pulled up, and I immediately fall, and I immediately get back in the boat, and that's all I'm ever going to water ski. Because my mind was way more powerful.
Also, you traumatized yourself.
Yeah, pretty much, of course.
Okay, fair enough.
But that's the kind of thing that this movie reminded me of, and especially back when I watched it, because I had already had that experience, and certain scenes in this movie made me think about that sort of situation, bobbing up and down on water you can't see below you when there's something giant and toothy wanting you. You know what I mean? So.
There's always a bigger fish.
And, you know, we don't need to go into the full story and everything breakdown like we normally do, because this movie, if you've seen this movie, you know this movie. Bill Pullman is the local lawman, and Bridget Fonda is the scientist kind of brought in when she finds out that there's something strange going on in the lake. And they have to team up, and Oliver Platt is a, you know, would-be hunter.
Yeah, well, an eccentric, like, entrepreneur, hunter kind of thing.
Right.
Yeah.
Who shows up to help the situation. And there's a lot of comedy involved in this. And a really fun little romance between Bridget Fonda and Bill Pullman that develops and stuff. So the nice thing about this movie is it's a creature movie that had really good actors with really fun, you know, character interactions.
Absolutely. Well, also too, like they had like a good chemistry with each other.
Yeah.
Like especially with Oliver Platt bringing in most of the comedy, just like the snarkiness, which he's fantastic at in any of his roles.
Yeah, agreed.
So, but also we can't shed light on. Well, we're going to shed some light on the helicopter, because that thing is pretty badass.
Yeah, well, go ahead.
That's not just you know, gloss over how nice his helicopter was.
Sure.
I'm just saying.
I mean, it's a helicopter. It's a helicopter to me.
Yeah,
but
I don't know. It was something about it as a kid. You're like, damn, that thing's badass. And then it got ate by a bigger CROC.
Yeah, exactly. But I loved the fake out, right? The one that died isn't necessarily everything. There's others, and it doesn't go well for them.
You kind of figured it.
Yeah, sure. And then Betty White's character, of course, the crazy old lady that's actually feeding the CROCs, and they tried to. The thing is, they tried to mimic a lot of this stuff in the second movie, but just so much worse.
Failed it. Like there was references to the first movie. Like
we'll get to that. But yeah, I mean, everything was fun in this movie.
Oh, absolutely.
Like everything.
It was natural. It was original at the time. Because again, the market wasn't oversaturated with the good, like at least good creature movies.
Right. I mean,
like, there was still some shitty ones, but there wasn't so many.
There was Alligator 1 and 2 in the 80s, and then Crocodile, I think 1 and 2 in the 80s as well, but not much in between that.
Like the original Piranhas.
Yeah, no, I mean, but
Grizzly.
Specifically for Alligator Crocodile movies, that's all that there really was. So there was room for one, and I'm glad that they did this because it was a really good version of it. Contrarily, Part 2.
So we want to just segue into Part 2?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, everyone, we really loved Lake Placid. If you didn't pick that up,
yeah, most definitely. And again, like if you guys haven't seen it yet, watch it.
Watch it. It's very worth your time. It and Deep Blue Sea are two movies from the 90s involving real animals as creature features. Those are the two that you need to watch. So let's do that. Let's dive into Lake Placid 2, which, oh man, this was rough.
Yeah, so
this is really bad in a lot of ways.
I ended up watching it before he started.
Yes.
And messaged him about it. It's just like, holy sheep shit in a duffel bag, Batman. The CGI on this film was atrocious.
It is so bad.
They even had a CG plane. They couldn't even. You couldn't rent one for like a 6-hour shoot just to get what you needed. You didn't use it very much.
Yeah, no, they had a CG plane. The CROC was CG. There was only one time, I believe, just one time. If not one time, it was only one head. But they had one practical crocodile head and like upper torso and nothing else.
Yeah, they used it for one scene of the entire movie.
Everything else was completely CG and just busted. Entirely busted CG. The storyline is terrible. I don't even know if it's supposed to be the same lake because it looks nothing like the lake in the first movie.
It is because oh god, the old lady, I can't. Her name slipped my mind, but apparently she is the sister of
Betty White's character, right?
So that's supposed to be the same dock, the same lake, all that bullshit.
Okay.
12 years later or something like that.
Yeah, well, 1999 to 2007, so 8 years later.
8 years,
And so now the alligators, assumedly, or the crocodiles, assumedly from the end of the first movie that you find out are the babies, have now grown to be just as big as the one in the first movie, if not bigger. And the lake is once again terrorized by them, and the new lawman is John Schneider, who
also
played
Clark Kent's daddy.
Yeah, Jonathan Kent in Smallville, which is where I fell in love with John Schneider because he's
Dukes of
awesome.
Hazzard, bro.
I never watched. I mean, I watched Dukes of Hazzard a little bit when I was a kid, but I was a Ninja Turtle boy, not a Dukes of Hazzard boy. So
Watch it all.
fair enough. But yeah, no, I loved him as Jonathan Kent though. Like he was my surrogate father figure growing up because that's
fair.
You know, that was So
He was awesome in that
He
show.
was tremendous. So yeah.
He
John
could not
Schneider,
save this
no,
fucking
could not
movie.
save this movie. And one of the biggest issues with this film, outside of the god-awful CGI, the really lame plot, and the really terrible teenage, quote-unquote, characters,
Yeah.
they were so bad. But outside of that, the entire movie was presented fully ADR'd, which what that means is all of the dialogue in the film was re-recorded in a studio later on, and they had to build all of the audio for the movie from scratch because something must have gone wrong with the on-set microphones and it just wasn't passable for the film. So like every bit of dialogue sounded like the character was off camera saying the lines while they themselves were on film saying the lines, and you can clearly see them trying to match the tempo and the cadence of their delivery to make sure it matches with the actual mouth movements that they are not using the audio of. So it was just so distracting through the whole way.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. And again, it felt, the editing felt very sloppy.
Yes. Well, they're cutting around what they don't have, which is good shots and shots of the monster.
I get that, and it just made it a worse film.
Yeah.
Also, I'm not gonna gloss over the fact that they used a paintball gun as a tranquilizer gun.
This is a serious sticking point for him.
Like, it irked the shit out of me. And the size,
honestly, I never would have known.
of those fucking tranks that were on that fucking CROC when
it
it came
flew me
around.
both times. Even after you said it, I watched the movie and it didn't bother me at all.
They put a scope on it.
It didn't bother me at all. I don't know nothing about guns, so like it didn't bother me at all. I'm the layman here, and while I get that it bothers you, and yes, that is lame, but even after you told me before I watched it,
limp wrist
you told me before I watched it, and I still didn't pick it out when it happened as like a weird thing.
You never even paintballed?
No, I've paintballed, yeah. But it didn't
see that giant fucking
the way I recognize
arm?
the way I recognize the paintball is the loading the thing that holds the paintballs.
hopper.
It wasn't there.
No, because they put a fucking scope on it.
Yeah, well, so that was enough to fool me.
Wow. Wow.
I'm guaranteeing I'm not the only one, but whatever.
I know that's so bad.
Look, everyone studies different things, okay?
It's just,
if they had different comics on camera, I could tell you all about it, and you might not be able to. So, it's different strokes for different folks. Maybe.
60-40.
Maybe. But yeah, this movie, the acting is abysmal. Nothing like the acting in the first. Outside of two people, John Schneider and the new Hunter's assistant. They were the best actors in the movie.
Actually, I would agree with that.
I don't remember what his character's name is, but
I don't know.
But there was a point at which he's been helping this new Hunter, played by a guy that's kind of a douche in a lot of the movies that he's been in.
Yeah, he always plays like that bad guy or
that
douchey,
stuffy nosed,
Yeah.
kind of stuffed shirt sort of guy.
I don't know.
But nonetheless, he was the Hunter with a weird accent for the first time and stuff. Didn't sound natural with his accent at all. But
it felt like also like nobody really wanted to be there.
No, absolutely.
John Schneider was not doing anything.
No, John Schneider was doing his best for the money that he got paid, I'm sure.
Well, yeah, he was doing what he got paid for.
He came off natural, except that the situations he was in, like, he clearly had some shitty dialogue that he had to deliver.
Especially with like the grenade launcher stuff.
And clearly they're like, act like there's a giant fucking crocodile in front of you, man.
They got a fucking stick
and he's like,
with a
really?
tennis
That's
ball
all
and
I
like,
get is. And they're like, yeah, fucking act like it. Jonathan Kent.
Yeah,
fucking
right.
do it.
Pull up your acting chops, motherfucker.
Exactly. So yeah, I mean, it was just a mess in every way, shape, or form, and it makes me concerned because I know Heather likes to go down these creature movie paths. She took Fuego and Marsha down the entire path of Sharknado. So I'm worried she's going to want to take us down the path of Lake Placid. But in all honesty, I'm down to do it if she wants.
Dude,
the next 2 movies are available on Crackle as well. Actually, the next 3 I think are available on Crackle.
I think so, yeah.
I think I've got them somewhere. But yeah, I mean, I'd be down to go through them just to see how much worse they get. Because at least Sharknado knew it was getting crazy and just upped the ante.
Yeah.
I don't know if Lake Placid ever does, or if it literally just goes further and further down the tubes.
I don't know.
But nonetheless, we'll see.
We're also talking about that with Anaconda earlier too.
Yeah, we'll see if she has us go down the Anaconda path too,
Yeah.
which I wouldn't mind. Heather's doing me a lot of favors. I'm revisiting a lot of the stuff that.
Dude,
I love these creature movies
have
growing
you ever
up.
watched
Love
Carnosaur?
them. I have all 3 Carnosaurs. I checked. I have them.
Dude.
I have Carnosaur 1, 2, 3. We can absolutely cover
Raptor.
those.
Did you ever watch Raptor? That was pretty bad though.
I don't think I saw Raptor.
It was it was Eric something.
No,
It
I've
was
got the
supposed to be that guy.
Carnosaurs, but
Carnosaur was pretty good.
yeah, because
The
that
Grizzly movies.
I saw the first Grizzly. That was pretty lame. You just saw a bear claw
Well, yeah.
wave through the freaking.
I think it was like
frame.
74.
Yeah, it was Jaws with
Like-
claws, is what they said.
Rawr.
That was literally, yeah, that was all it was. Well, we've digressed. So that's, I think, going to do it for our review of Lake Placid 1 and 2.
Yes.
Thank you for the recommendation, Heather. One of them was a great trip down
Yeah.
memory lane,
It
and
was
the other
still- it
was
was
like
still fun.
The other made me really consider what's wrong with me for enjoying it as much as I did growing up, because I don't remember it being as bad as it was.
Honestly,
Again, it's probably been since 2007 since I've seen it, so...
it's possible, but honestly, watching 2 made me appreciate the first one even
Oh
more.
my God, yeah. Oh,
Like,
the first one is Shakespeare compared to the
Oh,
second one.
absolutely.
Jesus Christ! But nonetheless, we appreciate the recommendations, Heather.
it was fun.
We'll see where it goes from here. Thank you to all of our patrons for supporting the channel the way that you guys do. We greatly appreciate it. Until next time, I've been Cecil Laird,
Robert Wolfman.
and remember, stay scared.